Hello, Johnny from Eurogamer here, and this is Okhlos, a very different kind of roguelike which is very nearly out. See, if you've watched the channel before, you'll know I'm a big fan of roguelikes, from The Binding of Isaac and Rogue Legacy to more recent offerings like Enter the Gungeon and Necropolis. I like how those games pit you against an ever-changing world, just you, some power-ups, and an endless horde of enemies. But in Okhlos, it's not just you. Oh no, it's you and a vast swarming mob of very angry, very violent people. See, in Okhlos, you control your mob leader with one hand, while directing said mob with the other. The mob itself is comprised of a bunch of different people, including ordinary citizens, shield-bearing defenders, aggressive warriors, slaves who carry things, and even animals can get in on the act, meaning you can go around smashing up ancient Greece with a bunch of chickens without even having an impact on your mob size. Your objective in Okhlos, by the way, is to go murder the gods, which doesn't sound like a nice thing to do, and let's face it, probably isn't, but it is at least a lot of fun. Each of Okhlos' areas is split into a series of small levels, capped off by a boss, and the objective of each of these levels is very simple. Kill all the enemies, then head for the door. On your way out, you'll often find a merchant who can offer you different kinds of troops, or even the chance to buy a hero, these being special figures who offer different stats based on their character. Classicists, no doubt, will enjoy a lot of these references. As you stomp about the place, smashing enemies and props will up the morale of your mob, eventually whipping it up into such a frenzy you can destroy entire buildings. Basically what I'm getting at here is that Okhlos is very, very silly, and a lot of fun actually. The gameplay is fluid and chaotic enough that you can slip into a kind of trance, while the brevity of the levels and the enemy variety help keep things from getting mindless or monotonous. The art style is also nice, and the music is really, really catchy. The real star of Okhlos, though, and the reason it feels so different to other roguelikes, is the angry mob itself. See, ordinarily, roguelikes ask you to focus on just one character. You've got your single hero, and you have to focus on their positioning, health, and power-ups in order to survive. But in Okhlos, you've got this weird shifting group of people, each one of them with their own health bar for you to look out for. It's a more nebulous creature, one with a great amount of potential, but it's also a bit trickier to control than games like The Binding of Isaac. See, if you hit the sprint button, your mob will spread out as it rampages across the level. This is good for covering a lot of distance quickly, but is also great when you've got multiple weaker enemies, letting you fight many combatants at once. With larger enemies, however, it's better to command them to clump up, so they're doing more damage in one very small, concentrated area. And while you're thinking about the adaptability of the mob and how best to use it, whether that's lower damage over a greater area or one super focused death mob, you also need to keep an eye on its makeup. If you have loads of defenders, for instance, you'll be able to block more damage, but it'll take you longer to bust enemies down to 0 health. Having lots of slaves in your mob, meanwhile, means you can carry loads of items, but that comes at the expense of outgoing damage. And while you're doing that, you'll also have to think about protecting your mob leader. While they may be replaced from among the ranks, your mob can only withstand the death of so many leaders, so they're not as disposable as you might think, given the number of people under your control on screen. A lot of enemies will also make a beeline for your leader, meaning you have to prioritise your targets quickly and decisively. Similarly, you'll need to keep your mob's morale up. If they aren't smashing enough stuff, they'll become despondent, and you will lose. So all in all, there's a lot to manage in Okhlos, and a lot to like. So while it may seem like a completely chaotic game, which it is, it's also one of surprising depth, which is why I really like it, even if the bit about owning slaves is a bit weird. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, there are plenty more for you to watch, and hitting that like button certainly wouldn't hurt either. Hopefully you've already subscribed, in which case thank you very much, but if not, please do. Either way, thanks for watching.